Yeah, excuse my voice. It's been a pretty crazy week, past couple weeks. My wife was just in town this past weekend trying to find a home. Faster I can find the address, faster I can bring all my kids here. So just kind of working through that process. At the same time, just trying to get to know my guys in the room. Trying to get more comfortable with the defense and what we're trying to do and trying to establish as a group. But just glad to be here. I'm so glad that practice started yesterday, just to be able to run around with the guys. I told the guys yesterday I was so anxious for practice to start. I couldn't sleep. It was like being a fifth grader again, just waiting for the first day of school. And so I was just so happy just to be around them. I woke up at 1, 2, 3, 4. By the time I hit 5 o'clock, I said, I'm just going into the building. And I just couldn't wait to see them. My family's not around, but they're my family. And that's the type of culture that we build in our room. So those guys keep me going, to keep me motivated, and I'm just so glad that we're in practice now.
What do you make of, I know you're just getting to know them, but the group you inherit, what's kind of your initial thoughts?
You got some, the guys work really hard. I think the Davis twins, those guys are really, really good football players. They were very productive for us last year. We're going to need their experience to help bring the younger guys along. But I like the depth. I think Damian Daniels is a really good nose guard. He's a guy that when I watch on tape, he's somebody that can really get us some knock 'em back. He's a guy I would say he commands 4 hands. If you try to single block him, he's going to win those one-on-one matchups. So I like that. Having his older brother, he was probably the most impressive yesterday at practice. Darian Daniels, it's good to see him, just see him running to the football. He brings great leadership, and we're going to need that.
Hey, Coach, Ben Stilley was talking about how you had implemented some new techniques already. I mean, to the extent that you can kind of get into that, what were those? What were you trying to get across to your guys?
Just simply, we talk about in our room being able to dominate the run game. In this conference, you got to be able to stop the run, and it starts there. And everything we do in our curriculum, just trying to train these young guys, is just to have them with the mentality to defeat the run blockers. And so just trying to get them really aggressive with their hands, coming out with their hips, being able to shock and shed blocks and be in a position to make a tackle in the run game. So a lot of it is not too much different. Probably the terminology may be a little bit different for them. But as a coach, all I'm trying to do is just help them connect the dots. Like, they've probably done a drill there. I probably call it a little bit different, and I might coach it a little bit different. But once they understand where I'm coming from and how I'm trying to get them to be successful within that drill and make that connection, then it kind of settles them down a little bit. So I know these guys have been through multiple defensive line coaches, right? And so every single year they're trying to learn a new technique and there's a new philosophy that comes in. So when I coach them, when I teach them, there's probably some things that they've already done that I'm just piecing it all together. So I try to make sure that they understand from A to Z what we're trying to get accomplished with our fundamental technique.
Coach, you've been around the business for a while. Just when you were at different schools, what did you remember about Nebraska, this program, and about the defense here?
Nebraska is a big-time football brand. I mean, you talk about the amount of wins that Nebraska's had. When I was growing up in high school, that was 92, 93, 94. I mean, Nebraska was rolling. And, I just remember watching Nebraska football, Tommy Frazier, watching those guys. And, it's just a brand. My brother was getting recruited from Nebraska, so that was something that was, I've always known of Nebraska since then. I didn't know prior to that. Our family moved from Samoa, so we had no idea what college football was like. So when my older brother was getting recruited, that was like our first introduction to what college football was about. And, just going through that process, like I said, Coach Osborne was in our house. I had no idea who he was. And, lo and behold, now, just going through college and going through that experience, I mean, he's one of the greatest coaches who ever coached the game. And, I'm just so honored and proud to be able to be a part of this program, to know that I'm tied to that.
Was it tough to make the move and join Nebraska?
Was it tough to join Nebraska? It wasn't tough after I talked to Coach Frost. Really, just having the chance to talk to Coach Frost, Coach Tenander, and just understand their philosophy, the culture they're trying to build. I mean, they're winners. Coach Frost is a winner. He's won here. He's won at UCF. And, he's coming back here, and he's going to bring that mentality. And just to know the type of character he is, the type of man he is. He's a family man. A lot of my values align with his. And the way he the way he wants to treat the players. He respects all the players. It just all fall in alignment with me. So the stars lined up, and at the end of the day, when I talked to my wife and we prayed about it, like this was a great place. Besides the football part, I mean, Nebraska football, it is what it is. But I think in this profession, in this world, even in your own world, you want to always surround yourself with great people. And I mean, you can't go wrong being around Coach Frost and Coach Sheehan and the rest of the staff here.
What's going through your mind?
Coach said earlier today, Coach Frost said he knew you were the right fit. How did you know you were the right fit for Nebraska?
Again, just going back to Coach Frost, just connecting with him. It's hard to explain, but when you got that connection and our values align with each other in terms of how we want to treat the players and how we can get the most out of the guys, I knew it was a good fit for me to come here.
What's going through your mind when it's -7 degrees, when you're
Oh,
showing up a little bit different?
Yeah. I always tell the players this. I said, when you're at this level, you got to be passionate about what you do. And when you're passionate about something, it doesn't matter. All the extra stuff, it doesn't matter because this is what you want to do. I wake up every morning and I can't wait to walk through the doors to be with these guys. And it's just like in your own profession, in your own world, when you're passionate about something, it doesn't matter about the extra stuff. You can deal with the elements. So that's what makes it fun to come here. And then it's Nebraska football. And these guys now get a chance to understand a little bit more about what it means to be a black shirt. And it's a standard of excellence, and I get the opportunity to be around those type of guys each and every day. That's exciting.
You say you can't wait to walk through those doors to get warm. Is that part of it?
Yeah.
How has the weather changed for you personally? It's got to be kind of a shock.
Yeah, it's a shock in the system, yeah. But the biggest shock is when my family and I moved from Hawaii to Cleveland, Ohio. So we've already been stung before. So, my kids grew up, they were born in Hawaii. They had no idea what 4 seasons were. So that first year they were there, they saw the leaves change colors. They're like, Dad, the leaves change colors. Like, then they fall off, And so we went through that whole process with them. And then went through the whole snow, and then the spring, everybody gets excited again in the summer. So we've gone through that already. So they know the deal when they're moving back here.
Coach, I'm sure when researching this job, you watched some tape from last year. What did you see from the D-line unit in 2018?
Who stood out? The Davis brothers stood out a lot. Those guys run to the football really hard. I think when you got guys that play with great effort, you got a chance. Every time I watch a football game, the team that plays the hardest is usually the one that wins. So as long as we continue to have that type of standard where we're constantly running to the ball, playing with great effort, we're going to have a chance to get the results that we want. But that's initially what I saw in those guys up front.
Which guys in the last recruiting class were you involved in recruiting, and could you kind of describe the connection you might already have with them?
Yeah, Ty Robinson, I know he's a big sign here. I'm excited to get a chance to work with him. We were recruiting him coming out of high school. He came and visited us, did an unofficial visit during the spring with his mom, and so there's a relationship that was built there. I actually texted him when I got the job and started flying here. And I told Ty, I said, hey, man, you're the one that made the right decision because I'm following you to Nebraska now. So I'm excited to get a chance to work with him. But, yeah, I made a cut-up for Ty when he came on his unofficial visit. I made a cut-up. It was 250 clips. And we went for about 50 minutes or so we only got through 100. And then he texted me back and said, hey, Coach, are we going to finish together 100 clips? So it's just cool to have that type of relationship with him coming inside.
A lot has been made about the conditioning and the weight training that Nebraska has. Yeah. Walking in and seeing these guys, you didn't see them last year, but seeing what they've got this year. What's your impression of the weight training and the conditioning?
I'm very impressed. Coach Duvall is an awesome guy. He's the only strength coach that actually is with the position coach. So he stays in our room. He's in our position meeting rooms. He's in all our position drills. And I've never had that before where a strength coach is that much involved. And so that just tells me how much he's involved with each of the players. And I can see already just the growth from 2018 to 2019. I know just talking with him and Coach Frost, we're not where we want to be in terms of the size and the strength. But I know in time we'll get there.
When it comes to recruiting, could you speak to some of the areas that you feel most comfortable in and maybe where you'll focus a lot of your efforts?
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. We're going to have a recruiting meeting here after this press conference and kind of finalize the details of where everybody's going to be at. But West Coast obviously is my areas that I feel most comfortable with. So, I used to live and coach in Las Vegas, so that's going to be an area there. California, Northern California, actually the Bay Area, where I'm very familiar with, and then Southern California is where I grew up in Orange County. So pretty much anywhere in California you can drop me, and then I can go find somebody for us. I get some good relationships in Arizona, and then also in Utah. Got a lot of family and friends out there, and then Hawaii.
And could you speak to what you look for when you're on the trail looking for defensive lineman, physical and his personality traits that you're looking for?
Yeah, the first thing for me, I'm always looking for a young man that's passionate, not only passionate about the game, but just passionate about his goals in life, right? And then number two, I'm just looking for a guy that's accountable. Right? Is he accountable to his teammates? When I talk to the coaches, is he accountable to coming to school, the weight room, all that stuff? And then, is he relentless and tough when I watch the tape? Right? Is he running to the football? Is he playing sideline to sideline? I mean, because when you put the tape on, you can tell how passionate somebody is about the game in terms of the effort that they put out there. And then is he tough, right? Is he mentally tough? Is he physically tough? Like, those two things are very, very important. And, a lot of people talk about that. For us, it's like practice one. Everybody's excited about practice one. Are you mentally tough, right? Practice 5, 6, and 7. Are you going to have the same attitude? Are you going to bring the same drive? Are you going to try to excel for excellence the same way in practice 1 as you are in practice 15, 16? So all those things come into play. And then the last thing is he productive? Is he competitive? But character's the first and foremost and most important thing.
Spent some time at Michigan, kind of working on the recruiting operations side of things. What are some of the biggest things that you learned in that role that helped you now as a full-time coach?
Just being very transparent with recruits. When you're recruiting, top of the line kids that are getting pulled from every different directions, I think it's always important to be very transparent, because what I've learned is a lot of times these kids, when they're out there being recruited, they're looking for a reason not to come to your school. And you got to be very detailed on everything, right? If there's 5 schools there that they're all really like, they're looking for one school to mess it up, and they easily take them off the board. So I think that's just one of the things that I kind of picked up there. Being able to follow up, kind of know the kid, know the coach, know everybody that's important in his decision making, and be able to touch base with all of them. And sometimes it's not going to just be one coach; it might be 2 coaches, it might be 3 coaches. So that's something that I just kind of learned from that. And I know the philosophy here is very, very similar.
How are you able to connect with the room? You've been there X number of days, not very long, but what's your plan moving forward to this group?
Yeah, just continue to build that relationship and build that trust with those guys. And I said we're not going to have the trust and relationship that we want in practice by the end of practice 15, but we're going to continue to work that so we can all feel comfortable with each other. And so these young men know that I'm here for them, and that's why I'm here. That's first and foremost. That's my number one job. Whatever they need, and they know that. And I told them that I don't just look at them as football players. Like, they're young men to me. They just happen to play football, and they do it at a very high level. They have other interests in life too as well, so they know that my door is always open. If I can help them out with whatever they're going through in school, whatever might be challenging, there's some things that are going to be off the field stuff. Once they know that I care about them, which also you got to build that with time and trust, then we're going to be able to run through the wall for each other anytime.
When you talk about connecting with guys, are there certain things that you're good at, whether that be cooking or
as you guys know, the best thing to connect with people is go eat. Right? Anytime you can break bread with somebody, you're going to make instant connections and instant friends. So, that's you can obviously just take a look at me. I'm not very picky in eating, but as soon as we can get it done, the players are already asking, "Hey, coach, when are we going to dig a hole in the ground and start making some food?" And I said, "Well, there's a lot of land here, so I don't think that's going to be hard enough to find something like that." So,
do you have a specialty? Do you make anything?
Well, I like to cook steak. Like, that's really good. My specialty, I don't know if I have a specialty. I just kind of make whatever I can get my hands on.
Well, you talked about the importance of kind of stopping the run. In your past, you've taught the defensive line along with those outside linebackers, right? Do you plan on doing that here? Is that something you taught us with?
Yeah, no. Over here, just working primarily with the defensive line, But to stop the run, as you guys all know, it takes 11 guys to stop the run. And it also takes 11 guys to stop the pass. And we got to have a good understanding of that. To stop the run, we're going to need the secondary to come in and help fill some gaps to stop the run. If they use the quarterback to run the ball, we got to use 11 guys too. And so it's no different in the pass game. And I think that was one of the biggest things at the last school I was with, was getting those guys, hey, when it's a pass situation, we got to go affect the quarterback. I know everybody talks about sacking the quarterback, but to me, my philosophy is about affecting the quarterback. I'm fine if we don't get a sack, but if we get 10 hurries and 3 batted balls and force 3 interceptions and we win the game, good with that, right? Sacking the quarterback is just one form of it, but can we affect the quarterback? So these guys know anytime it's a pass, they got many different ways to make an impact playing the game.
Not to get into every detail, but when you interviewed, was there something you wanted to stress, or was there a moment when it's like, okay, this fits for both of us? Yeah,
I mean, for me, I'm always going to stress stopping the run, because that's where it all starts out for me. And so when we talked as a staff, a lot of my time was just spent on how am I going to help these young men develop in the run game, to develop the skills and tools that they need to stop the run.
I understand you have 4 sons. Coach Ross said you had 4 sons. Some high school coach is going to be pretty happy.
Yeah, I got 4 boys. They're excited to keep texting me and calling me every day. Dad, when we're going to be able to get into school? I said, son, right when we find the address, then you can start coming over and getting into school. So they just want to be a part of whatever team or school they're going to be in and be able to make some friends. And I think that's one of the great things about sports. Like, you can just instantly make friends just being on the same team. So I know there'll be great people around this community here that they'll make great friends with.
Tony, I'm sorry if you already been asked this question, but what attracted you to this job?
Nebraska football. Nebraska football attracted me here. Having the opportunity to win the Big Ten championship and win a national championship. And then the man that's in charge of this program. He's won everywhere he's been. And I know when he gets everybody in the right seats in the bus and everybody in the right direction, like, there's no doubt that we'll be able to win championships here. But it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of work to make that happen.
What's it like being in the coach's room? Because these guys have been together for a while.
Yeah.
He brought some staff with him from UCF, and now you're the new addition.
Yeah. I'm the young guy. I tell them I'll do whatever. You need pencils, coffees, papers, whatever. I'm the new guy in the room, so I get it. My seniority is like bottom of the totem pole. But they're all great guys. They're great guys. I'm very blessed and fortunate to be around these guys. And it says a lot about the head coach. If these guys are staying together with the head coach, I mean, why wouldn't you want to be in a place like that?
Does the pull have to be pretty powerful, considering, you guys were in California? I'm sure things are going well there. Just to change that and to come here.
Yeah, I love my players at Cal, and they know that. That was probably and I told Coach Frost that's the hardest thing I had to do, was to call my players and the kids that I recruited and tell them that I got to leave, and they know why. And that, the relationship doesn't stop just because I'm no longer there. I always tell the guys, when we go down the path together, we're down the path together for life. So if anything I can do, they still text and call and check in and whatnot. But it's not going to be any different here. The young men I'm going to work with here, I told them we're going to be friends for life, and I can't wait to see how they're going to grow and what type of fathers they're going to be and their kids and all that stuff. I want to be involved in all that. So I'm just looking forward to the opportunity that we have to be able to continue to work. We got 14 more practices to get ready, plus meetings in between. So between now and then, I told the guys we're not going to be where we want, but at least we're going to be able to close the gap a little bit.
You're originally from Hawaii, is that correct?
I was born in Samoa, and then my family moved to Orange County back in the 70s. So when I was 9 months, we moved to California, and we were in a house full of 22 people, 25 people in there. And, at the end of the day, when we look at it, this is the American dream, and I'm living it. And, our family, from a small little island down in the South Pacific, my parents just can't wait to come out here and see what Nebraska football looks like, and for them to be a part of that's really cool.
You understand the irony, too, that you're a warm weather kind of guy and you move here when there's more than a foot of snow on the ground, right?
Yeah, right.
How's that treated you?
I'm just glad that I don't have to work in it. So all I got to do is, the hardest part for me is to walk in the car and then drive up the street to get here and then run inside the building. Once you're in the building, then you don't know any different, right? Whether I'm in California or in Hawaii or here in Nebraska, I'm indoors. We can work.
What's your family think about it?
They're excited. You know, my kids are super excited. My daughter's excited to come out here. I got my oldest one in Hawaii. She can't wait to come on break. Just come here to Nebraska and take a look and see what it's like. So for our family, as long as we're together, we're good.
What are some of your immediate goals with your defensive line group as you guys are getting ramped up now in spring ball?
Yeah, immediate goals. It's really just to help them with their fundamental technique. We spent a lot of time, even the last 3 days, just meeting with the guys to just help them understand their fundamental technique and how to use those tools within the situation of the game. Like, that's the biggest thing. Once their players can understand how to use those tools within the scheme of the game, then it's timeless. It don't matter what defensive call we play. If their fundamental technique is right and they know how to respond and use that fundamental technique to their advantage, we're going to be good every time. But it's them being able to understand what I want them to do, how to respond, and then be able to execute it.
What are your initial impressions of your group? There's only one practice, it's kind of hard to make sweeping observations, but what do you think of the guys?
I told the guys this morning in our meeting that I think, if we continue to work, how they've been working today, I think they have a chance to be very dominant, and that's our goal, and we want to build a brand where we want to be tough for offenses to run the football on us.
I know it's just been a little bit since you've been here, but how's the recruiting profile different, or if it is, from the guys you were recruiting previously to what you'll kind of transition to now being in the Big Ten?
You got to get bigger guys. You got to get big guys that are stout to be able to play the run, and then have some athletic guys to be able to go chase the quarterback when it's time to get it. At the last school I was at, it's a different scope of kids that we're recruiting because of the academic admissions process. So here at Nebraska, it's a little bit more open, so I can recruit more diverse players, so we can start taking a look at the junior college programs and see what kind of players we can get out of there. So, and then just the brand itself, a lot of kids, if you're just, Cal is hard because you're just stuck on the West Coast. It's hard to get somebody from the East Coast to come all the way there. Nebraska's kind of central, so you really can recruit from both sides of the country and really get them to draw there.
Does it excite you that your room seems to have a mix of veteran guys, but you also got some exciting kind of newcomers? Do you like that kind of blend you have?
Yeah, I love the blend. I think the young guys have it's going to be very bright for them in the future. I was just spending some time with Tate Wilderman and also with Casey Rogers after our walkthrough practice. And those guys want to soak everything up. They want to learn. And having guys like Damian Daniels and then both Davis brothers, them being able to share some of the experience and kind of coach the younger guys along, it's going to be great for our room.